It is generally not compliant with electrical codes to run number 10 American wire gauge wire for the first 100 feet to a pull box and then continue with number 12 armored cable to receptacle locations. This scenario raises concerns under the National Electrical Code, specifically regarding tap rules and conductor sizing for branch circuits. Here's a breakdown of the considerations. Firstly, understanding the applicable code sections is crucial. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides guidelines for electrical installations to ensure safety and proper functionality. Branch circuits, which supply power to outlets and devices, must adhere to specific requirements for conductor size, overcurrent protection, and installation methods. Secondly, consider the tap rule. The tap rule, outlined in NEC section 240.21, addresses situations where a conductor's ampacity is reduced. It permits tapping a smaller conductor from a larger one under specific conditions. However, there are strict limitations on the length and ampacity of the tap conductor. These limitations are designed to prevent overcurrent situations and ensure that the smaller conductor is adequately protected. Thirdly, evaluate the 6.4-foot tap rule. One common tap rule variation allows for taps up to 10 feet in length, provided certain conditions are met, or up to 25 feet in length if specific requirements outlined in the NEC are satisfied. If the number 12 armored cable section exceeds the allowable tap length according to the relevant NEC tap rule, the installation is not code compliant. Fourthly, evaluate the overcurrent protection. The overcurrent protection device, typically a circuit breaker, must be sized appropriately for the smallest conductor in the circuit. In this case, if a 15-amp circuit breaker protects the branch circuit, the number 12 wire is adequately protected. However, if the number 10 wire were connected to a larger overcurrent protection device, such as a 20-amp breaker, the number 12 wire would not be properly protected and is not in compliance. Fifthly, assess the ampacity of the conductors. Number 10 American wire gauge copper wire typically has an ampacity of 30 amps at 60 degrees Celsius as specified in NEC Table 310.15b16. Number 12 American wire gauge copper wire typically has an ampacity of 20 amps at 60 degrees Celsius as specified in NEC Table 310.15b16. The ampacity of the conductors must be sufficient to carry the load they serve. In a 15-amp branch circuit, both number 10 and number 12 American wire gauge conductors have adequate ampacity. Sixthly, consider voltage drop. Although both wire sizes can handle the current, voltage drop can become a factor over long distances. Number 10 American wire gauge wire will have less voltage drop than number 12 American wire gauge wire for the same load and distance. If voltage drop is a concern, using number 10 American wire gauge wire for the entire run may be beneficial, or even upsizing the wire further. Seventhly, examine the armored cable requirements. Armored cable, or AC cable, must be installed and supported in accordance with NEC Article 320. The connectors used to transition from the number 10 American wire gauge conductors in electrical metallic tubing or EMT to the number 12 armored cable must be listed for the purpose and properly installed. Additionally, the armored cable must be securely supported at intervals specified in the NEC. Eighthly, note local amendments. It's important to be aware of any local amendments to the NEC that may be in effect in the jurisdiction where the installation is taking place. Some jurisdictions may have stricter requirements for conductor sizing or tap rules. Ninthly, consider the specifications. The specification book requiring number 10 American wire gauge wire for runs over 100 feet suggests an intent to minimize voltage drop or provide a more robust installation. While using number 12 American wire gauge wire after a pull box may be technically permissible under the NEC, it may not align with the project's design intent. Tenthly, ensure proper connections. All connections between conductors must be made using listed connectors suitable for the wire size and type. Wire nuts, terminal blocks, or other approved methods should be used to ensure secure and reliable connections. Improper connections can lead to overheating and electrical hazards. 11thly, verify accessibility. Pull boxes must be installed in accessible locations as required by NEC Section 314.29. This ensures that the connections inside the box can be inspected and maintained as needed. The pull box should not be concealed behind walls or ceilings without providing access. 12thly, consult with the authority having jurisdiction. When in doubt, it's always best to consult with the authority having jurisdiction, or OJ, which is typically a local electrical inspector. The AHJ can provide guidance on specific code requirements and interpretations in the area. The inspector's interpretation will ultimately determine whether the installation is compliant. 13thly, review the entire circuit. The entire branch circuit, from the overcurrent protection device to the final receptacle, must comply with the NEC. This includes conductor sizing, wiring methods, box fill calculations, and grounding requirements. A holistic review of the circuit ensures that all components work together safely and effectively. 14thly, understand the intent of the code. The NEC is intended to provide minimum safety standards for electrical installations. While it may be possible to technically comply with the code, it's important to consider the overall safety and reliability of the installation. In some cases, exceeding the minimum requirements may be prudent. 15thly, consider the long-term implications. Electrical installations are expected to last for many years. Therefore, it's important to consider the long-term implications of the design and installation choices. Using higher gauge wire or more robust wiring methods may provide added reliability and reduce the likelihood of future problems. 16thly, document the installation. Accurate documentation of the electrical installation, including wiring diagrams and conductor sizes, is essential for future maintenance and troubleshooting. This documentation should be kept in a safe place and readily accessible to qualified personnel. 17thly, consider using a continuous run. To avoid any ambiguity regarding tap rules and conductor sizing, consider running number 10 American wire gauge wire continuously from the panel board to the receptacle locations. This eliminates the need for a pull box and transition to number 12 American wire gauge wire, simplifying the installation and ensuring compliance. 18thly, remember grounding. Proper grounding is essential for electrical safety. The grounding conductor must be sized appropriately for the circuit and connected to all metallic enclosures and equipment. Grounding ensures that fault currents can safely return to the source, tripping the overcurrent protection device and preventing electrical shock. 19thly, consider arc fault circuit interrupters. Arc fault circuit interrupters, or size, are required in many branch circuits to provide protection against arc faults. A size can detect dangerous arcing conditions and energize the circuit, reducing the risk of electrical fires. When installing or modifying branch circuits, it's important to ensure that the size are used where required by the NEC. 20thly, understand the difference between ampacity and overcurrent protection. Ampacity refers to the current carrying capacity of a conductor, while overcurrent protection refers to the device that protects the conductor from overloads and short circuits. The overcurrent protection device must be sized to protect the conductor's ampacity, but it should not exceed the ampacity. 21st, follow manufacturer's instructions. When installing electrical equipment, such as receptacles, switches, and lighting fixtures, always follow the manufacturer's instructions. These instructions provide important information on proper installation techniques and safety precautions. 22nd, inspect the installation. After completing the electrical installation, thoroughly inspect it to ensure that all connections are secure, conductors are properly supported, and all components are functioning correctly. A thorough inspection can help identify and correct any potential problems before they become hazards. 23rd, perform testing. After the inspection, perform electrical testing to verify the integrity of the circuit. This may include testing for continuity voltage and ground fault impedance. Testing can help ensure that the circuit is safe and operating within acceptable parameters. 24th, use qualified personnel. Electrical work should only be performed by qualified and experienced personnel. Working with electricity can be dangerous, and improper installation can lead to serious injury or property damage. Always hire a licensed electrician or other qualified professional to perform electrical work. Therefore, while using number 12 American wire gauge wire after a pull box on a 15 amp circuit may technically comply with the NEC under certain tap rule conditions, it's essential to consider all relevant factors, including conductor sizing, overcurrent protection, voltage drop, and local amendments. Consulting with the authority having jurisdiction and ensuring that the installation meets the project's design intent are also crucial steps. Ultimately, safety and compliance should be the top priorities.